I'm Kirk Hanson. I'm Executive Director of the Marrkula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University. We're here today with Aaron Beam, former CFO, Chief Financial Officer of the HealthSouth Corporation. HealthSouth is known as one of the biggest scandals of 2002, 2003. And Aaron played a role in that scandal, went to prison because of it. He's here today because he's really started to talk about his experiences, what he thinks he learned from it, and what he hopes MBAs who are today in school might learn from his experience. Your descriptions of the whole HealthSouth experience, you said in the early days of HealthSouth, there were a number of decisions around what you called aggressive accounting practices. Not yet fraud, not yet hard fraud. What was that like? Why did you go along with what were some of the more aggressive accounting interpretations and practices?
I think it was a lot just like peer pressure, just like teenagers begin to do things they shouldn't do because all of their peers are doing it. Mm-hmm. A lot of what we were doing was kind of common knowledge that these are the games that Wall Street plays. Everybody's doing it.
Particularly in startups.
Yeah, in startups. And the things that we did that were aggressive accounting that weren't really good accounting, we exposed to our auditors. We told them we were doing it. And of course, we rationalized that when we lowered our bad debt expense, we rationalized that we really were going to do a better job of collecting our money. And so when you're making that decision to change some accounting numbers in favor of the bottom line, you rationalize. As even though it wasn't criminal, it was still a stretch of the rules. And the thing that I try to explain to students is that kind of behavior is corrosive. It's kind of like rust on a piece of metal. It starts kind of small, and then one day a bridge falls down because of the whole infrastructure rusted. Mm-hmm. And I think when you start compromising your accounting principles and you really know you're bending the rules, it corrodes. It mm-hmm. corrodes the entire accounting system and set you up for a big collapse one day.
In 1996, when you got to the point of hard fraud, as
right.
you've described it, you were the first CFO of HealthSouth. This particular failure to reach the earnings that the Wall Street expected came, and as I understand it, you were pressured by Richard Scrushy, as you tell the story, to come up with the numbers. Why'd you do it? Because that was clearly a big transition from the aggressive accounting to the hard fraud.
Well, as I look back, it was a series of things. First off, it was a kind of a heat of the battle thing. It wasn't a situation like where I could say, Richard, I'd like to go home and think about this for a couple of days. We were up against an earnings release mm-hmm. deadline, and Richard is the kind of person that doesn't allow you to think things over. So I knew I had to make a decision right then and there. Again, I was proud of the company. I wanted to see the company keep growing and be a big success. And I knew that if we reported bad earnings, the stock would fall, our ability to continue growing would be hampered. And Richard played on that. And he said, you don't want this to happen. You want the company to keep growing, and we can be a much bigger company. But we just got to have a little help here with the numbers, boys. That's the way he was phrasing it. And again, I just, that I was speaking with an FBI agent the other day, and he was saying there's such a clear difference between white-collar crime and regular crime. The white-collar criminal really rationalizes things. The normal, I guess, red-collar or whatever you call it, the kind of crime where a guy goes in and robs a bank, mm-hmm. he's not rationalizing. The bank's got the money and he wants it, mm-hmm. okay? I wasn't putting money in my pocket. I was fudging company numbers to meet Wall Street expectations, and I rationalized very badly that was the better alternative than to cause our market cap to go down by maybe $1 billion. Helping the numbers a little bit might be the best option. Bad reasoning, but that's what went through my mind at the time.
It led you, a year later to resigning, the bad feelings about it?
Yeah.
What was it caused you to resign?
Yeah, after, Richard assured us we'd only do it once. And of course, we did it again. And then we embarked on another year. We had unrealistic earning expectations out there because Richard didn't want the street to lower their estimates. And it became clear to me that I was now in a quagmire of something I couldn't get out of. And it really it got to the point I realized I'd committed a crime. I was lying to stockholders, and I couldn't live with myself. I literally was abusing alcohol, and I had to get out. I really was, and I left the company.
You could see that you were once again going to be faced with it the next quarter.
Again, and I didn't see any way of getting out of it, and I was intimidated by Richard. Richard's a very intimidating person. He always carried a gun in his briefcase. He had bodyguards, and I really didn't want to cross him. I didn't want to be the one to stand up to him. And today, with everything I know, the fact that I'm never going to have a legacy of starting a great healthcare company, I'm going to be known as a felon the rest of my life. Today, I really believe I could stand up to him. And that's the reason I wrote my book. My book is not something Richard Scrushy is going to like. But I felt like it was time for me to have the courage to stand up and tell the truth, regardless of how Richard might have reprisal on me.
Now, in 2003, when you heard that the fraud had been discovered, and there were investigations going on by the Department of Justice, if I understand it right, you went and talked to the U.S. Attorney and basically gave them the core of the story, the whole beginnings of it. What motivated you at that point to do that, to just go and lay it all out for them?
Well, I really felt like that was the right thing to do. My attorney advised me that the best thing for me to do at that point was to be truthful, come forward, cooperate to the fullest, and rather than going the other route and trying to lie my way out of it and trying to deny. And I was, I did not want to start living a lie again. So once it all broke, I was more than willing to come forward and say, yes, I participated. This is what I did. I'll help the government if I can.
And you received quite a bit of credit in terms of your eventual sentence.
I did. They only gave me 3 months, which I'll just be honest with you. I think I should have done more time, but I'm human, so I didn't volunteer to stay in jail longer than they gave me. But I could have gotten a sentence of 2 or 3 or 4 years easily, and I only got 3 months. So I'm not sure who in the Justice Department decided to give me such a light sentence, but whoever it was, thank you.
You now talk to a lot of business school students, MBAs, and such. What do you hope they learn, or how can they learn some of the things that you did not have ready for these incidents in your own life?
To have people like a Richard Scrushy, very aggressive people, intimidate you and try to get you to compromise yourself because they want to achieve their financial goals. And if you're too conservative on your accounting, that hurts them. They want you to help them to the point that you compromise what you've learned in school. And it's a very real scenario. The position in American business that has the highest turnover rate of public companies is a CFO, 3.4 years. The CFO only lasts in a public company for 3.4 years. And studies have shown that it's primarily they can't take the pressure of that tightrope they walk of trying to do the accounting correctly in what management, upper management, in the big peer pressure of Wall Street. The Wall Street wants good numbers.
So understanding that those pressures come with the territory, come with any kind of senior finance position or accounting position, is an important part of preparing for it.
That's right. And I explain that, and I tell them that they need to be prepared if they sense that the tone at the top of the company is wrong, that the company is going to make them compromise their principles, they need to change jobs. If they stand up and get fired, so be it, or just at best change jobs before you feel like you're going to be put on that slippery slope.
Aaron, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.